Niccolò Manucci. Niccolò Manucci, the 19th of April 1638 to 1717, was a Venetian writer, a self-taught physician, and traveler, who wrote accounts of the Mughal Empire as a first-hand witness. His work is considered to be one of the most authentic source for the events that took place in India under Mughal rule. He also documented folk beliefs and customs of the period. Biography. Niccolò Manucci was born in Venice to Pasqualino Manucci and Rosanna Bellin. He joined an uncle in Corfu as a teenager and went aboard an English ship to India. In Delhi he lived with Jesuit priests learning Persian and some medical knowledge. He sent a ring back home with instructions that it should be sold for books on medicine to be sent back to him. After several dubious attempts as a medical practitioner with lucky cures effected for some influential patients, he seems to have managed to work as a physician in the court of the Mughals. In 1653, he was recruited as a servant and guide by Henry Bard, 1st Viscount Bellamont, envoy from Charles II of England to Abbas II of Persia and Shah Jahan of India. After Bard died at Hodal on the 28th of June 1656, Manucci moved to Surat, Gujarat, and around 1656 he became an artilleryman for Dara Shikoh. Following the death of Dara Shikoh he moved to Patna Bahar and later worked with Mirza Raja Jai Singh, and in 1666 he tried to find work in Portuguese Bassein and Goa. He then returned to Mughal service in Lahore as a physician. He lost material in a shipwreck and then worked as a physician for Shah Alam in the Deccan. In 1682 he tried to act as an intermediary between the Portuguese and the Mughals and was made a member of the Order of Santiago by the Portuguese Viceroy Dom Francisco de Tavera, Conde de Alvor, but this ends in 1686 when he lost Mughal trust. He then moved to Hyderabad and then to Madras, marrying Elizabeth Hartley Clark, widow of Portuguese interpreter Thomas Clark. He lived in Madras with some work at Pondicherry, where he obtained a house on the Rue de la Porte de Gaudeleur, Cuddalore. He maintained good relations with William Gifford and Thomas Pitt. Manucci remained in India for much of his life and is one of the few supposedly first-hand European sources for Emperor Shah Jahan, Aurangzeb, Shivaji, Dara Shikoh, Shah Alam I, Jai Singh I and Kirat Singh. He had miniature paintings made of several of the Mughal rulers for his book, Storia du Mughal. Manucci is famous for his work Storia du Mughal, an account of Mughal history and life. Manucci had first-hand knowledge of the Mughal court, and the book is considered to be the most detailed account of the Mughal court. It is an important account of the time of the later reign of Shah Jahan and of the reign of Aurangzeb. He also documented folk beliefs including witchcraft. He wrote about his work, "I must add, that I have not relied on the knowledge of others, and I have spoken nothing which I have not seen or undergone." Manucci spent almost his entire life in India. He would then send home the manuscript for Storia du Mughal, which was lent to the French historian François Catteau in 1707. To Manucci's displeasure, Catteau published his own embellished version as Histoire Générale de l'Empire du Mughal in 1715. The original then emerged in Berlin in 1915 and was written in 3 different languages. This version was translated and then published. Citation needed. In early 1683 Manucci left the service of the Prince Muazzam and reached Surat, Gujarat. Therefrom he went to Goa and served the cause of the Portuguese in their conflict with the Marathas. As a reward, the Portuguese knighted him. Meanwhile Prince Muazzam compelled him to re-enter his service. After several attempts, Manucci managed to flee to the English at Madras in the second half of 1686. While visiting Pondicherry, he was induced to marry a Catholic widow of Thomas Clark on the 28th of October 1686. They had a son, but the boy died soon after. He then returned to his medical practice and became widely known for his surgery and sale of stone and a medicinal liquid. He died at Pondicherry probably in 1717 at a ripe age. In 1702 Manucci sent to Paris the first 3 parts of his manuscript through Des Lalonde, an official of the French East India Company. In 1705 the Jesuit Father François Catrou published at Paris a volume on the history of the Mughals in India with the confession that he had used the manuscript of Manucci lent to him by Tslands. Manucci sent the last two parts of his manuscript to Europe between 1706 and 1712, and in 1715 Catrou produced the history of Aurangzeb, confirming his taking the facts from the manuscript of Manucci. The Berlin Codex, as it was called, contained 3 volumes. Volume I begins from the voyage of Manucci and ends at the accession of Aurangzeb, showing the history since Timur Lang. Volume 2 deals with the wars of Aurangzeb till 1699, while Volume 3 discusses the resources of the neighboring princes along with the mention of remarkable events. Manucci stated that he had obtained the facts from official chronicles. But as to the period preceding Shah Jahan, these facts are merely bizarre gossips. It appears that Catrou had sent a copy of his MSS to Manucci, who had sent a strong letter of protest to the Venetian Senate along with Part 4, accusing Catrou of plagiarism. Annie Rudder Ray.